Podcast. Last night as I was going to sleep and kind of chatting deliriously to my wife, she reminded me that a while ago she'd read about and had told me then about Robert Louis Stevenson having given his birthday to a little girl, and that she passed it down to like her daughter, and I think it's now like her granddaughter has his birthday, like as a possession.
That's interesting.
Isn't that interesting? It's something like this little girl's birthday was on Christmas, and he felt bad for her. And so he like deeded his birthday, which was in, I don't know, June or July or something like that. And she just kept passing it down. And yeah, somebody today still has his birthday, apparently.
That is unusual. How do you give your birthday?
Well, I don't know. I guess if you're important enough, you can do what you want.
Interesting.
Well, yeah. I enjoyed hearing you talk about Robert Louis Stevenson. And man, it's funny. Anything else that he wrote is really crowded out in my mind by Treasure Island. I know he did other stuff, and it's even like notable stuff, even stuff that I've like read or watched movie adaptations of and stuff like that. But not only is it all Treasure Island all the time in my mind, that means Muppets all the time for me.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Muppets were great.
Yeah.
Love the Muppets, and they've made a resurgence, right? There's a new Muppets
That's right.
show.
There's the Muppet Show. Yeah, I haven't watched any of the new episodes yet. I've got all the old ones on DVD, so I revisit those sometimes. It's been fun to kind of like introduce my children to celebrities of the past as well and stuff like that. But yeah, that's right. They did kind of do a reboot.
The Muppet Show was an important part of my childhood growing up.
Yeah, mine as well. Absolutely.
Loved that.
Yeah.
And I think signs of me being a music nerd showed up early in my viewing of TV shows when I was a kid, because I can vividly remember the Muppet theme song. I think it was the ending. So at the end of the show, da, 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 and it ends with and then the Barry sax goes.
Right. Yeah.
So I just remember as a kid just laughing hysterically at this wrong note. It doesn't
the musical joke
yeah.
came through to you.
Yeah. Yeah. And my brother looking at me like, what?
Why was that funny?
Yeah, what's the matter with you? That's funny. Robert Louis Stevenson and the Muppets. Wow, what an interesting connection there.
Yeah, probably because of having recently listened to your episode over on Jeremy's Bagpipe and History podcast. I shouldn't say it that way. Over on Way Too Twag's Bagpipe and History podcast. Yeah. Probably because of having recently listened to that, and then also because of there's plenty of people chattering right now about casting decisions for the Odyssey film that's coming out. Some of the maybe some of the. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't presume to weigh in any way right now myself personally, but some of the chatter that I feel like is maybe a little bit more thoughtful than some of the other has to do with just like more like broadly just kind of asking oneself the question, like, what are your expectations for what characters in myth and legend and story look like, and where do those expectations come from? And I chuckled to myself when I realized that in the Treasure Island, it's so present, like culturally, like, and there's so many adaptations of it, etc. That like, yeah, I think you could by some definition say that this is already a mythic story, a legend for us, like there are archetypes there and stuff like that. And for me, yeah, the default is Muppets. That's what I expect the characters to look like.
Right. Well,
but anyway, I didn't mean this to be a Muppets podcast. Sorry, Rod. I didn't mean to take us straight there.
That's a podcast coming to you soon. Another podcast to subscribe to.
Yeah. Well, we need that along with our weekly episodes of the Robert Louis Stevenson bagpipe show with Rod Nevin. So you've
Right.
only got started now.
The thing about podcasts, is I I didn't really start listening to podcasts until probably like a lot of people, 2020 in the pandemic.
Oh,
You
sure,
know, we've
yeah.
got all this time now. What do we do? I guess I'll
Hmm.
listen to podcasts while I'm doing whatever, walking the dog or doing stuff around the house. Um, and I don't know. I didn't really know much about the art of podcasting or why listen to something for such a long period of time that's not a book, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and then I got into it and found all these niche topics you can find almost any topic. I'm sure there already is a Muppets podcast, right? Because there's
There's
a
gotta be, yeah.
podcast for everything. And
Yeah.
so I started looking up bagpipe podcasts,
Yeah.
and I'm certain that's how I discovered this podcast,
Oh,
and
sure, yeah.
also Jeremy's Waichichwag's Bagpipe and History podcast, to give it the full title.
Yes,
Um,
yeah.
and and now, it's crazy how life works. But now 6 years later, I've been on both those
Yeah.
bagpipe
That's
podcasts that
right.
I found back then.
You're
Um,
you're frequenting the shows yourself, yeah.
Now I also discovered another podcast that I know you've been on, and which I know I'll never been on, which is another
Oh,
bagpiping
yeah.
podcast. I don't know if those guys are. I'm not even going to mention it.
Yeah.
I don't know if those guys are still doing it or not. They
Yeah.
probably are. But
I've told my wife before. I hope my mother never finds out I've been on that show.
no, 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 Mom, don't listen to that one. Uh, but
Well,
um,
yeah,
I think the thing that I've come to appreciate about podcasts is that it has no curtailed time limit.
right.
So
Yeah, we can
some
do what we
people
want.
say, yeah, there's some podcasts that are, this is always going to be a half hour long, or this episode is always going to be an hour long, but
Yeah.
you don't have to. And the thing that I appreciate about these podcasts, yours especially, and Jeremy's, will give him the shout out, but just that it's the long form chat, interview or discussion or talk about whatever topic, um, and that I feel like it is an antidote to the short form content that is becoming the norm, um, especially in video form, that is easily and quickly digestible by, yeah, the mass media feed. So, the YouTube short videos and the Instagram uh, videos, which I tend to watch every day. I do
Yeah.
not do TikTok. I think I was on TikTok for about 4 minutes, and then a couple of months. All right. And then got off of it. But um, I, there's something to be said for that. They're entertaining, and I enjoy watching these short videos about things. And there are some educational,
Yeah.
historians and experts in things who do these videos. So that's interesting to watch. But it's not the same as just having a relaxed, as long as you want, kind of conversation, where you can just really just kind of ramble on and flesh out some ideas that don't have
Well,
to be these really quick little nuggets.
it's kind of you to frame that in a positive way, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's very nice of you. Good, because in a lot of ways it's also like, well, am I just lazy? Could I do a better job of like structuring and editing and stuff like that?
Uh,
And yeah, it might be the case too. But no, let's go with the
uh,
positive take. I prefer that. Yeah. Well,
absolutely.
but actually, speaking of like editing things down and making them shorter and stuff like that, I am curious,
Hmm.
Rod. Like, even if it's not like a physical cutting room floor, how much material, having done the research you did for that Robert Louis Stevenson episode,
Hmm.
on the history podcast there, on Jeremy's history podcast there,
Hmm.
having done it, like how much do you feel like you left in terms of material unsaid. You know, like we
Yeah.
got to hear the final product, but you were working on that for a very long time. I mean, could you stitch together another couple episodes like pretty easily at this point, just based on the material you have?
Yeah. It's yeah. I
Maybe actually you do talk about it a little bit in the episode, about like why you got started on it and stuff like that. But like, feel free to tell us,
mhm.
narratively as well. Like, how did you bump? In fact, I remember you mentioning that it didn't turn out to be what you expected it to be from the
Yeah.
beginning, stuff like that.
No.
So yeah, go ahead, drone
It
on about
was
that stuff, Rod. Tell me about it.
oh, droning on? Is that what you want me to
Yeah,
do?
yeah, I do.
Um yeah, it was definitely not what I set out. Um it wasn't what I thought it would be when I started doing it, and it wasn't what I thought it would be when I finished doing it and realized, oh, it's never really totally done, is it?
Yeah,
It's this kind of amorphous blob of a thing that just keeps changing shape as you try to fine tune things or put a point on something that it doesn't stick. Um, s- I started doing this because uh, I thought I would do a library presentation for my local community library and um, make it somehow related to bagpipes. And because it's at the library, I thought we'll make it a literary connection. And so I decided, okay, I guess easy to start with Scottish authors, right? So Robert Louis Stevenson was up there, one of the first authors I could think of who is well known and has written books that most people will know about, like Treasure Island. Um,
yeah.
and so I thought I would start there and find out. Let's see, Treasure Island. What songs are mentioned in there, and what music is used in the telling of the book? If there's anything there, then I could play those tunes or sing those songs, and and then in a convoluted way, a roundabout way, also talk about these are the bagpipes and these are how the bagpipes work.
Yeah.
Now here's another song, that sort of thing. Um, now that's how I started thinking about it, and then I reread Treasure Island to see is there anything in here. There's one song that he keeps mentioning in Treasure Island, um, and I did not put this in the other podcast episode. But there's one song that he kept mentioning in Treasure Island. Um, Now I'm trying to find it.
Hey, take your
Uh,
time. I
has
can do some touching up later, so
what?
no problem there. Yeah, if you if you need to take a few minutes to find it, no sweat. I'll make it look like you had it ready to go.
Okay, trust you.
Yeah.
Um, scroll, 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 scroll. This is the problem. I have a ton of notes, and some of it I used for the library, and then some of it I used for the episode. And oh, here we go. All right. So there's one song that kept getting mentioned in Treasure Island, uh, either as a song that was being sung or a tune that was being whistled, and that's Lily Bolero. Uh,
Is that the
and
bolero that you always that I the only
no,
bolero I would think of?
not Ravel's
Not that one,
Bolero.
huh? Mhm.
No, but Lily Bolero. Um, there's the lilted version of it. Uh,
Who's always, is it multiple characters always whistling and humming this in Treasure Island, or is it always the pirates, or
It's
do you
uh
remember?
It's the captain. Um,
Captain Smollett,
ooh, yes, Smollett.
Kermit the
Who's the
Frog.
first? Who's the first one that? Who's the first one that shows up at Jim's place, and then a few chapters later dies before they go on their journey?
Before they even leave? I can't
Before
remember
they
because
even
that
leave.
character wasn't in the Muppets version of the story.
Oh, all right. So he introduced it first, and then later on the pirates use it as a signal, like they're whistling Lily Bolero in the distance, or they're singing it at the end of the day, like, oh, we know the pirates are still there because you could hear them singing Lily Bolero.
Ah, yes.
So that tune was mentioned several times, um, and I never even included that tune in my library presentation. Uh,
How funny.
and
It's
it
like
didn't.
the one that was most obvious for you
No,
didn't make the cut.
and it didn't show up in my research when I was doing the Robert Louis Stevenson episode either.
Right, I don't remember that coming up at all. Yeah.
But it was apparently a very popular tune, and it was also a tune that was used in some regiment somewhere, of course, and then it was used as it was used for a BBC um, program, a theme on some BBC show, and I forget what that was. But um, so that's just one of the ways that these little nuggets of things show up, and then you follow this rabbit trail down, and sometimes it doesn't go anywhere.
Right.
It's just like, oh, here's a tune. Let's see where this came from. Oh, it was used for that, and oh, it came from that, and yes, it was very popular. And oh, some composer also used it, like maybe Handel used it for something, and then oh, that's very interesting. Can I use that? I was like, no.
There's nowhere for it to fit.
Right?
Once
So
you, yeah.
you can spend hours just researching some little interesting tidbit, and then after that you think, can I use this in this thing that I'm presenting? And no, it's interesting, but I can't fit it in. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Um, Another tune. Okay, so now this gets into the Robert Louis Stevenson thing again. Is what? Well, let me ask you, James. What song do you think of most associated with Treasure Island?
Oh, definitely the old A Pirate's Life for Me. Yo ho, yo ho, A Pirate's Life for Me. That's what comes to my mind.
Is that in the Muppets version?
Just a little bit. Or like it's not
Yo
even
ho.
like one of the it's not even one of the like musical numbers from the Muppets version. It's like I think if I remember right, it's like when Jim first comes onto the ship and first meets Long John Silver. I think he's like humming it to himself in in the kitchen on the ship. I think that's the only time it comes up,
Hmm.
but probably because of the association of that with pirates is the reason that comes up in my mind. And that's part of where I'm like maybe this isn't true for everybody, but I just feel like Muppet Treasure Island. Oh my goodness, I just said that.
Yes.
What I meant was that Treasure Island is like so in like it's part of our zeitgeist, like it's part of our
Hmm.
milieu right now, and so it's like
Hmm.
anything I associate with pirates at all, I'm actually going to associate with Treasure Island, even though it's not in the book. You know what I mean? It's like well, anyway, maybe that's just me, but so sorry. I probably didn't give you the right answer.
That was not what I was expecting. So that's interesting. The yo ho, a pirate's life for me.
Yeah,
Um, that I did not see that. I'm sorry, James. I did not see that in any of Robert Louis Stevenson's
alas.
manuscripts. I'm so sorry. No. But uh, the other song that shows up maybe as often as Lily Bolero is 15 Men on a Dead Man's Chest.
Oh, well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I'd like
um,
to think, Rod, if you'd asked me that question on a different day, flipped a coin, then that one might have been just as likely to come to mind.
uh-huh. And so Now that I don't know if they used that in Muppet Treasure Island. But
Kinda. I think if I'm remembering right, I think that they used it entwined with that Dead Man Tell No Tales
oh, okay.
piece that they do. Yeah, so I think it does come up, but maybe not as a standalone. But I might not be remembering clearly.
Well, the the version of the tune that I guess it probably came up in one of the early Treasure Island movies was yo ho ho and a bottle of rum, 15 men on a dead man's chest. Yo ho ho and a bottle of rum. Something like that.
Yeah.
But when I started researching Robert Louis Stevenson's music, I found a reference to another tune that somebody else wrote. Okay, so sorry, this is gonna start getting convoluted. This is where my brain started to like go like popcorn. Like
Yeah.
which thing do I follow here? Which thing is the
Yeah.
answer? Um, Somebody else wrote in a letter to somebody about Robert Louis Stevenson and said, "Oh, the tune that I taught Robert Louis, the tune that I gave Robert Louis Stevenson was Blow the Man Down."
Oh yeah, yeah. Another great pirate song. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, another pirate song, sea shanty. Um, but if you try to fit the words of 15 men on a dead man's chest, 15 men on a dead man's chest, yo ho, and a bottle of rum.
Yeah.
You really have to change the rhythm a bit,
Yeah.
and it sounds too happy. Yeah, da, 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 da,
Sure.
da. So I wasn't sure about that. I mean, you can make almost any tune work by cramming the words into it, but it doesn't
Well, sure. Yeah.
necessarily, it's not necessarily a satisfying rhythm for everything.
It makes me think of there's a Stephen Wright joke once where he's singing a song about folk music and making all kinds of jokes about folk music as he goes, and one of them is, "And nobody really minds if you stick an extra syllable in here or there."
Okay, I'm gonna have to look that up. I enjoy Stephen Wright.
Yeah, yeah, it's one of
Very,
his banjo pieces,
I have to look that
Wait,
up.
no, Steve Martin. Steve Martin? No,
Oh,
Steven.
Steve
Okay,
Martin. Okay,
I do. I also like Stephen Wright. I'm sorry, Stephen Wright's the
I
deadpan guy. I got that. Yeah,
yes, yes,
the other comedian Steve. Yeah,
yeah,
I think
yes.
Stephen Wright's the only song that I'm familiar with is the one called Rachel about his girlfriend. Something about her having like brown hair, green eyes, and no, it was like brown hair and plaid eyes or something like that.
Wow. Okay.
We can connect that to bagpipes, and so it's still on topic. I'm not
Yeah.
just trying to take you off task, Rod. It's all connected.
Amazingly, it's all connected.
Plaid hair, that's what it was. It was plaid hair, and Robert Louis
Wow.
Stevenson is from Scotland.
Yeah.
I'm still here with you. Yep.
And there's plaid there. Yeah. Right. So, an example of how you can get down some rabbit trails that lead nowhere, but you can
Yeah.
still connect them. They can still be connected
You
in
can
some
make
way
it
or
work.
another.
Yeah, you can make it
Yeah.
work if you want to. Sorry.
Yes.
What do you call the steering thing on a pirate ship? The steering thing. The it's not a steering wheel. It's not a mast. That's where the sail goes.
The
It's
helm?
the helm. Rod, take the helm. I apologize for
Well,
distracting you there.
well, no. Get back to my
So
wheelhouse.
your brain started popcorning because it was like a letter from one person to another person about Robert Louis
Yeah.
Stevenson saying, "Here's the
Yeah.
tune I gave him," but it doesn't really
Right.
fit great.
Right. And so I was finding these nuggets of information on a website. And this website is this archive of
Mm.
Robert Louis Stevenson's.
Yeah, no,
Um,
but Rod, I'm sorry. So quickly, do I have another question for you? Wait, when you found that website, because I wondered about this listening to your episode. When you found that website, did you, to any degree, feel a little bit disappointed or deflated because you were like doing work on figuring this stuff out, then coming across someone else having done that work and figuring this stuff out? What was that experience like? Was that exciting or was it frustrating? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What did you
Yes.
think?
It was both.
Ah, okay.
It at first it was, "Oh, I don't have to do any work because somebody else has already done this research."
Mm,
And then it was, "Oh, this is not the way I was expecting this to go. This is
yeah,
not the
yeah,
information I was looking for, but it is kind of the information I was hoping for." Um, so, um, and I found it. Okay, so here's how I got there.
yeah,
Um, to to pin down another rabbit trail. Uh, I was looking up Robert Louis Stevenson as one does, and found a Wikipedia article on Robert Louis Stevenson. And I know Wikipedia used to be kind of how we feel about AI now. Like,
yeah, yeah,
don't trust it. It's just everybody contributing. Well, at least Wikipedia we know is mostly human input,
mhm,
right? And
yeah.
not AI.
You imagine the personification of Wikipedia doing some sort of like, well, to us now. Like, look who trusts me now.
Right. Yeah, you thought I was bad.
Yeah,
Um, and so I was reading, it just, not necessarily looking for facts, but looking as a guide to see, Robert Louis Stevenson's birth, death, early life, where did he go? Where did he live? And
yeah.
then I'm scrolling down Wikipedia and I see this picture, a photo of Robert Louis Stevenson in bed with his sheets over him and playing an instrument and with an open book of music on his lap,
Mm.
which, if you look at the podcast episode on Wichita Bagpipe and History podcast, where I talk about Robert Louis Stevenson, you'll see the cover art is that photo and then a photo that I took of myself in bed playing my practice chanter.
Oh, I hadn't made
Just
that connection. Oh, that's great. I like that. Yeah.
I'm trying to mirror that image.
Yeah.
Um, but the so that photo I saw, and when I saw that, my reaction was, "What? Robert Louis Stevenson played music?" I was not expecting to find that kind of connection to music. I was expecting to go all roundabout and just association of music, but now here's a picture of him playing music, and I thought, oh well, okay. I I found the citation to this photo, and it said that this photo is from this Robert Louis Stevenson music archive. Oh, what's this? I clicked on it and found that somebody had gone through and uh, there's this huge list of tunes and songs. And then then I started going down really really deep rabbit holes on each and every tune. Um, and it was not what I expected. Um, the the archive. Um, I'm sure I can reference it here because I tried reaching out to the man who did this archive. His name is John Russell. I don't know if he's still out there somewhere. I tried contacting him and emailing him and contacting people who have websites and newsletters that talk about it. Just no have not gotten in touch with him. So John Russell, if you're out there and if you're listening to this podcast episode now, please reach out to me. Um, but are you still there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I was just worried there for a second because I saw no sound waves on my screen.
Oh, yeah. I probably didn't make enough sound with my little
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
You can insert those later.
Right, yeah. I'll put those in post. Yeah.
So, um, so John Russell amassed this huge collection of tunes and songs, and for each one of them, he goes in detail about it and a little bit of the history, and provides just a snippet of the manuscript. And here's where it gets frustrating. he shows a picture of the manuscript that Robert Louis Stevenson wrote, some of the music notes, but
Yeah.
not the entire thing.
Yeah.
And and the citation to show where the location of this manuscript is, it's in some local Robert Louis Stevenson museum, or it's in the Library of Congress, but there is no fully digitized archive online where you can go and
Gotcha. Yeah.
see the full image of the manuscript. So that was the frustrating part, where I couldn't go and see the full original source, and I had to trust that what this other person said is accurate.
Right. Yes.
So that was the frustrating part of it. I was very thankful that he had done all this work and found all these tunes, mostly associated with Robert Louis Stevenson's poems. So for any poem, you pick whatever poem, like Robert Louis Stevenson wrote this series of poems on songs of travel. Right there in the title, it's got songs of travel. And the version of it that I was familiar with was done by the composer Ralph Vaughan Williams. And he composed this beautiful song cycle using Stevenson's poems. And I have several copies of it in my music library.
In your growing Robert Louis Stevenson archive that
no,
you have there locally.
no. But now going on to this archive, you can see, Robert Louis Stevenson may have been thinking of dot dot dot
Such and such
this
a tune,
other.
yeah.
Robert Louis Stevenson really loved these other composers like Schubert and Schumann, and maybe some Handel or Haydn. And he sometimes Stevenson referenced something and would say, this melody by X composer is so beautiful, and but he doesn't always say, this poem that I wrote should be sung to this tune.
Yeah, gotcha.
Once in a while he does.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it's just conjecture. And this person who made the archive would sometimes make some very educated guesses and say, I think that this melody, which Stevenson loved, could fit to this poem that Stevenson wrote. And sometimes it looks like it would fit.
Yeah.
But most of the time it does not sound like it would be.
You kind of have to squint to make it work.
Yeah. So, there were, I'm trying to think of an example from that Songs of Travel, but the Song of the Road was not part of that cycle, but it sounds like it could fit, Song of the Road. That's one where Stevenson wrote to the tune of Over the Hills and Far Away.
Right, which you opened the episode with, if I remember right. That was the very first thing we heard, right?
Right, and one of my favorites. loved that song and that tune long before I knew anything about these things. But the tune, "Over the hills and far away," it's directly quoted in the poem. So, Stevenson said to the tune of, and it's also quoted in the poem. So you know that that's the tune that the poem goes with, and it fits. It fits the rhythm of the words. It fits perfectly. So we can be confident in saying this is the tune that Stevenson intended. But even there can be some confusion, because, as you know, a folk tune doesn't exist in concrete.
Right. Yep. Absolutely.
So
which variation did he have in mind when he said that?
Right.
Yeah.
So there are rhythmic and melodic variations, or different settings, versions of the same tune. And
not to mention, of course, in this case, you've probably it seems like it's pretty well narrowed down that that is the melody line. But then there's also you could zoom out a step from there and be like, well, now this title goes with how many different, very different melody lines, that kind of thing as well. So, yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah. And on the website, John Russell said, it's obvious that this is the tune that Stevenson intended, but which version of the tune did he use? Well, it could have been, and then he listed 2, maybe 3 references of the tune. Like it was used in The Beggar's Opera, one of the earliest written, composed operas. Insert composer's name here, because I forget if it was who was it?
Research assistant. Go. Was it Johann Christoph? Nope, that's a song called The Beggar's Opera. Ballad opera in 3. John Gay. With music arranged by Johann Christoph Pepusch. It was Pepusch.
Pepusch. Wow, Pepusch doesn't get enough credit. Wow, I couldn't have told you that. So John Gay.
I asked Wikipedia to be. Yeah, thank you, Wikipedia. Here's hoping that was true. You know what, Rod? Actually, who knows? Who knows if that's accurate? Who knows any of this? Here we are talking about, well, you just got to kind of trust the person who wrote this down on the internet, I guess.
Right.
There you go.
Oh, all right. So yeah, make your edits around that so that we both sound really smart.
Yep.
So, it could have been the music as it was written in that composition. And then he says, or it could have been in this book that Stevenson had in his library, or it could have been in this other reference, this other book. Which is true. It could have been from any of those, or it was such a well-known, popular tune, and since he wrote, to the tune of, it's assumed that everybody knows what that tune is. It'd be like saying, to the tune of "My Country 'Tis of Thee," or hopefully everybody knows that, or to the tune of "La Bamba." Almost everybody will know that.
I have one of those. I have a replica of a very old hymnal. So the replica isn't old, of course, but the hymnal was produced at the turn of the the end of the 19th century. And it is interesting that as you go through, it's only ever words. There's no staff music there, right? It's a little poem-sized book, and at the top of each one, it gives a tune suggestion, and it's just tune titles.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not like an index at the back or something. And I think that largely this is you just figure everybody knows "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star," so here are some words you can sing to that tune, that kind of thing.
Right.
And that is interesting.
Right. Or not everybody will know how to read music, so here are the words.
Right. Yeah.
More people know how to read words than music.
Yeah.
So since it was a popular tune of the day, certainly it could have been floating around out there, and with all the different folk variations, one pub in London
Oh
They'll be
yeah,
playing Over the Hills and Far Away. It'll sound different in this pub in Edinburgh. You know,
sure, yeah.
it's going to be played stylistically different. Um, so that was one of those things where I had to uh, allow myself to choose a different setting of the tune because I didn't like any of the examples he gave.
Oh well, there you go. Yeah.
The ending of the tune, over the hills and far away, it ends on the second degree of the scale, re instead of do.
Yeah.
Um, but the examples that he listed on his website, some copies of here's one that was used in a children's book of nursery rhymes or something, and it ends with da 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 dum dum. It always ends on me do do, which to me is too no. I don't like it being so final every time.
Mhm.
I like the way the song sounds open ended. You know,
Kind
over the
of like
hills
an
and
open road.
far, yeah, far
Right.
away, far
Yeah.
away. You can kind of see it. The music is looking off in the distance because it's not settling on the final do note. Anyway, so that's
No, but Rod, this is great because that I mean that makes sense. But you're like you're understanding like a meaning that's intended by a melody choice, not
mm,
unlike as a child recognizing that saxophone art at the end of the Muppet Show is a joke.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like there's
right,
these things are like embedded in the music, and that I think that's a really fun thing to think about and look at. So I'm glad you pointed that out.
right. So um, thought. I think I got to the end of that rabbit hole. So pick up another rabbit hole, James.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no problem. I've got other rabbit holes. So, uh, well, speaking of the tune maybe sounding different in one place versus another place, etc. I'm only vaguely aware of like Robert Louis Stevenson's like personal life. I had been under the impression that he was like kind of sickly, and that was
Mm-hmm.
part of like, and I just kind of assumed that that meant like his sort of like, well, like looking at the human psyche maybe with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde or thinking about that was him, right? Wasn't that his was that one that he wrote, Dr. Jekyll and
Yes,
Mr. Hyde? Yeah.
yes, yeah.
So maybe that kind of I feel like being introspective, if you're bedridden, that kind of makes sense to me. But then things like Treasure Island and Kidnapped and stuff like that, I'm like, is this his imagination wandering around the world because he's stuck in bed? But
Mm,
then something you mentioned, like he did travel quite a bit too, and I don't
mm-hmm.
understand what's the deal. I anytime I read that somebody was sick in the past, I assume they were consumptive. I just assume it was tuberculosis, and so maybe that's
Yeah,
not true of him. But like, what did he have? What was the deal, and how did he manage to travel? It seems like I'm now piecing together that like no, actually he traveled quite a lot
he
just
did.
while ill or something like
Yeah,
that. You know?
yeah. Um, I'm not going to be able to tell you what his illness was without looking at Wikipedia, but I did find out that he was frequently ill even as a child. Um, and he had coughing fits and fevers throughout the rest of his life. Um, he grew up in Edinburgh, and so that when I saw that fact, I latched on to that at first, thinking, okay, this will be the connection because he was an Edinburgh lad. He would have been surrounded by bagpipes in
Yeah, there
Edinburgh.
you go. There's your connection. Yeah.
His house where he grew up was just a couple of blocks away from Edinburgh Castle. So he would have heard the regimental band or bands playing there and piping probably a lot. Um, and that's just a supposition, but I I'm pretty
Maybe a
sure that
decent
that could
supposition.
be,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
the piping scene in Edinburgh in the mid to late 1800s would have been very active there.
Mhm.
Uh, but yeah, he was very very sick, and um, his dad was a lighthouse engineer. So as a kid, he would go around traveling with his dad to Orkney, Hebrides, and Shetland Islands, inspecting the lighthouses. Uh, and at first it was kind of assumed that he would be an engineer like his dad, but he decided later on that he would rather be a writer.
Yeah.
And
I'm imagining the conversations around the dinner
yeah,
table in that household. Like, being a lighthouse engineer has been good enough for me. It's going to be good enough for you. But
right.
father, I wish to write.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's some interesting little tidbits about his life there where he uh, he decided he would, or maybe one of his parents or both decided for him that it would be better if you got a real degree. And it sounds like
Yeah. Yeah.
nowadays somebody, "Oh, I'm going to major in writing or in
Yeah.
in music history. What are you going to do with that degree?" Uh,
Yeah.
so he got a degree in law, but he never acted as a lawyer. He never practiced law. Um, he married an American. So Fanny, his wife, uh, was from America, and I forget if he met her over here, but he did come to the United States a couple of times. He stayed in Saranac Lake, New York, where you can find the Robert Louis Stevenson house there. And then also he visited Hawaii, and I think it's one of those things where you can go to any of these places where he stayed, and there will probably be a plaque somewhere that says Robert Louis Stevenson slept here, and he wrote a little bit of Treasure Island while he was here. That sort of
Yeah.
thing,
Sure.
trying to
Yeah.
lay claim to his having been there and maybe writing something while he stayed there for a time. Um, but let's see, he also traveled. He went to Switzerland. He was moving all over the place, trying to find a place that had a good climate for his lung condition.
Sure. These were in the days of go get some sea air or go get some
Hmm.
desert air or, again, I think consumption. And it sounds like he lasted too long for that to have been the case for him, but that's just what always comes to my mind when this kind of thing comes up with people in
Yeah,
history.
yeah. And so in 1890, he moved to Samoa in the South Pacific, which I think it's one of those places where it has a different name now, right? Samoa
Mm.
is fill in the blank. Um, and he died 4 years after moving there. But he felt that part of the world was best for his condition, whatever that condition was.
Gotcha. Yeah. Gotcha. Now, can I send you down another rabbit hole?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Or is there more to explore there with his with his disease and travel?
There's just, well, I think it was, he never found a cure for what he had, but because of what he had, and it was detrimental. His health was poor, but because of that, he was stuck in bed. And what did he do while he was stuck in bed? He wrote. And he also played tunes, we found out later. But, you know, because of this adverse condition, and having this not favorable experience in life, he created these worlds in writing, in poem, and in book form that people have enjoyed ever since and currently still enjoy. So there's something to be said for what do you get out of that? Like what do we do with adverse conditions in our life that feel like, oh, this is really horrible?
Right.
What do you turn it around, and what do you create out of that then is something that others enjoy and becomes part of the human culture. So I don't
Yeah,
know,
I mean,
that's
in,
yeah.
in in kind of a yeah, I mean, like I can see there being a useful angle of being like, okay, what can I do with any adversity I encounter in my own life? That seems like it could be a healthy way to kind of
Hmm.
reframe challenges.
Yeah.
Also, looking at it as a consumer of his work, I can think, well, kind of selfishly, in a way, kind of glad that he was sick, like it feels terrible
Mm-hmm.
to say that, but whatever
No.
brought about the conditions to produce this stuff that, like we've mentioned a couple times now,
Mm-hmm.
it's so everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he traveled all over. I'm assuming that probably he picked up different accents. See, I'm tying things together here. Probably his accent might have changed as time went on. He might have picked up different
Mm-hmm.
vocabulary, even entire different languages. I wanted to mention, Rod,
Mm-hmm.
I really liked your Scots singing in that episode that you did. I thought it
Oh.
was not that I'm an authority on the Scots. I'm not even sure to say Scots dialect or Scots language or what, but not that I'm the decider. Obviously, look at me. I don't speak it. Never have. But
Mm-hmm.
what I have done before, and probably this has happened to just about anybody who's been around Scottish bagpipes for enough time, you're inevitably going to be asked to do the Burns poem to the ode to the haggis or whatever that one is and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I've been in a position either recording privately or speaking publicly to try to figure out what do I do with this?
Mm.
Do I do what is inevitably going to be a kind of hacky bad version of the
Mm.
Scots that I see on the page? Or do I Americanize it and just get the words across? You know what I mean? But then
Mm-hmm.
if it's a poem or something like that, then you lose the rhyme scheme and the rhythm and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And just for my own sake, as far as I as a non-authority go, I thought that you did it beautifully. And
Oh.
and maybe I felt like rolling the R's and stuff like that, maybe was a big part of it. It was
Uh,
very musical. You kept the rhythm was all there. It felt like it really went well.
Oh, I would like to ken to the beggar wife, says I, who all things come to be, where we find them when we try. The lasses in their clays and the fishes in the sea. It's gay and easy spearing, says the beggar wife to me.
And I am curious, what did you have to practice a lot? Did you listen to a lot of people singing in Scots? How'd you pull that off? Because I thought it went great.
ooh, well, thank you very much. It's, huh. I'm not an expert in Scots. So a lot of that was just putting on the sounds that I've heard and kind of salt and peppering them in where I felt appropriate without, there's always that dangerous edge of if you don't exactly have it down, it's going to sound like a parody or a farce or a
Right. You
bad.
don't want it to seem like you're making fun of it or something like that.
Don't want to sound like the character um in oh no, what's his name?
Don't worry, I'll clean it up.
Get in my belly.
Oh, sure, yeah.
The character.
Yeah, we can't say his name, Rod, or it won't be a family friendly show. The Austin Powers films.
Austin
Yeah.
Powers. Thank you.
Right.
The really horrible parody in character in that film.
Or you also don't want to sound like the majority of the cast in the film version of Brigadoon. You don't want to do that.
Yeah, true. So I feel like I haven't consumed and absorbed enough of the Scots language and people who speak it well, or just in general Scottish people who speak English but with a Scottish accent.
Yeah.
But in singing, I feel like I can adjust some sounds in my singing in an easier way than in speaking, because I've studied singing for most of my life. I've learned to love the way consonants and vowels take shape and form the way the singing voice works. I don't know
Gotcha. Okay.
if that sentence makes sense, but
No, I see. I'm an outsider to highbrow. I mean high level core. I honestly didn't mean highbrow. I meant high level choral singing.
right.
But I've from the outside, I have heard people talk about singing in their choir other languages, but they're able to do it fairly efficiently because of having spent time like singing based on phonetics rather than on
Mm-hmm.
spoken language, if that makes sense, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I can, though I couldn't do it, I think I can see what you mean. Kind of like having spent many years focused on how do these vowels and consonants sound together and work together to kind of be a part of the music.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's in studying singing, when you're studying a song in a foreign language, one of the most useful tools you have is the International Phonetic Alphabet. So the IPA, which is more than just a beer, you
Yeah,
can.
I was going to say, hang on a sec.
Yeah. So for every sound that is made in any language, there is this International Phonetic Alphabet that has a symbol to represent that sound. So, so the letter E, in our Roman alphabet, the letter E in other languages, of course, will sound differently, right? So,
Yeah.
In English, we say E, right? But in other languages, A. But it can have different shades of vowel sound. So it could be A, it could be A, it could be it could be it could be E, right? So
Yeah.
there are at least 4 or 5 different symbols that could come out of that one character, that one
Yeah.
letter. And so I did not do any, having said that, I did not do any IPA study of these words that were used in Stevenson's poems that he wrote in Scots.
Yeah.
But I kind of used a hard and fast rule of, okay, roll or flip the R's, which I've gotten in the habit of doing that almost too much because as a lifelong learner, I feel like I've studied singing most of my life, and I've been singing most of my life, but I still want to do as best as I can and learn more about my voice and what I could do as a singer. So I meet on Zoom. I have a mentor, a singing teacher, who I meet at least once a month and sing some songs for him, and then he gives me some guidance on, well, why don't you try this and why don't you do that with your voice? And I'll bring some songs and sing through them, because as a singing teacher myself, I want to improve how I'm doing that and how I'm teaching my students.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's a little nugget of important, like I would put this in bold and highlighted and underlined. This is, never stop learning. Just whatever your favorite subject is, just keep learning about it, and whatever your favorite hobby is, or whatever subject, just we should never assume that we know everything, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So in singing my songs, I'll frequently flip my R or roll my R without realizing it. And in a song where it's not appropriate. So in some songs from an English composer, of the 19th century or something, it's totally appropriate, and
Yeah.
we
I
can do
gotcha.
that. But if I'm singing a contemporary American song, or a song that was used in a musical from the 19 whatevers, then I should not be flipping my R or rolling my R's, but it just creeps in there habitually. And
I see.
I've blamed it on listening to so many Scottish songs that it just
Yeah.
it creeps in there.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if it feels at all like highland piping
Mm-hmm.
embellishments creeping in
Mm,
on whistle and stuff like that when you play other stuff or other
yeah,
styles.
that's a great
Partly because,
analogy.
well, like
Mm-hmm.
the rendition you did of the Beggar Wife song in
Mm-hmm.
particular, I felt like the R's and flips, the rolls and flips were fit really well there and really were like a part of the music, and I really
Oh
enjoyed
yeah.
them. And at the time, I thought to myself, like, these rolled R's, they kind of make me think of D throws, like not that they
Yeah.
have to be that, but just yeah,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's a great connection too. And can easily slide from that into the rabbit hole of vocables in music and canteract used
yeah.
in piping music, right? That was all the throw was
Look, you just did it right there. Yep.
the burl
Yeah.
the
I feel like
lumboa
Tackum is one of them as well, which I might.
tacum. Yeah,
Tackum, yeah, it does it too.
absolutely.
Yeah, there is the word onomatopoetic.
Yes,
Onomatopoeia.
easy for you to
They're
say.
onomatopoeia. Yeah, right. Yeah. Uh,
Absolutely.
well, Rod, speaking of both singing and piping, one thing that I was a little bit like delighted by or surprised by and really enjoyed about that episode that you did is that you included a little bit of like, hey, if you want to get started doing piping and singing at the same time, here are some ideas for things to try.
Mm,
I really
mm-hmm,
appreciated it was kind of like a chill
mm-hmm,
tutorial. It didn't take over the episode. It wasn't like so much information that it would be more than I could handle. It was just like this little, like, if you're interested in this, here's a way to start. And I thought that was
mm,
awesome. And that's something I'm also very interested in. I've
mm-hmm.
spent years now thinking to myself, I want to do more of that. And I'm not doing it. I keep thinking I want to do
Yeah,
it. I keep not doing it. But singing while piping is something that I feel really drawn to. I love it when other people do it, and I want to do more of it myself. Um,
yeah.
what is that to you? Like, how did was it a perfectly natural thing to you years ago to just start singing along because you sing so much, or did you encounter someone else doing it and go, "Wow, that's cool"? Or why is that
Hmm.
significant to you?
Okay. Wow. So there's a lot to go on here, and this will soon turn into Rod's pipe singing podcast.
Yeah. That'll be your
When,
second show, Rod. You can do your weekly RLS
oh
show and your
no,
bi-weekly pipe singing song.
I don't want to do it. Um, so yeah, pipe singing. Uh, it's fascinating and it's fun, but also, as I'm sure you know, challenging to do.
Yeah.
But uh, wonderful to listen to, and when it can be done right, it's just fantastic.
Yeah.
So I've got a lot of thoughts about it, but one of the earliest memories I have of it is my first time going to Piper's Gathering is 2017, and at the Piper's Gathering, the instructors will do a recital on Friday night and Saturday night, and we have instructors on Scottish small pipes and Northumbrian pipes and uilleann pipes and flute usually and maybe whistle. Um, and that year, uh, 2017, I'm pretty sure Breeja Campbell was there. Um, E.J. Jones, he might have been the next year after that. But Christopher Layer, um,
I'm not familiar with
was
Christopher Layer's work. I feel embarrassed that
yeah.
I'm not. I'll look him
No,
up.
he hasn't, as far as I know, I have not seen him on my radar for years. He hasn't done a recording lately, so I'm not sure what he's up to right now. So send us an email, Chris Layer, if you're listening to this right now. Um, do you ever get feedback from somebody on an episode, James, where like somebody mentions somebody and then that person will email in and say, "Hey, I'm still alive. I'm doing stuff."
It hasn't happened yet, but maybe
Okay.
this will be the episode.
So you're going to hear from John Russell
That's
and
right.
Chris Layer. Uh,
And perhaps I'll get a visitation from the ghost of Robert Louis
Yes.
Stevenson tonight while I'm sleeping. Yeah.
Oh no. You'll hear a cough, cough, and then his flageolet playing in your dreams.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. So Chris Lair in Piper's Gathering, he did some pipe singing, and I think that might have been the first time I heard live somebody playing the bellows blown small pipes and singing at the same time. And he did some Americana, like some Appalachian or other or early American folk tunes, songs. He did one about the boatman.
Was it the Mingolay boat song?
No, it wasn't that one. But I can almost think of it. Anyway, it was a boat song. Hold on, can you pause for a second? I'm getting a phone call.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Pardon me for a second.
No sweat.
Hello? Yes, hi. Okay. All right, James, I'm back.
Hey, cool.
Yeah, I just got a gig canceled.
Oh, dang. Sorry to hear it.
Well, they let me know that, we just met with a family yesterday, and they told us that they already hired a bagpiper.
Oh, one of those, the funeral home booked you, but the family got...
Yeah.
Oh, we've all had that. Yeah,
right?
That stinks.
At least I didn't find out on the day of, right?
Right. Oh, man, I did a funeral once where I was warming up, and then I noticed when I stopped playing, I still heard bagpipes, and I looked around, and there was another piper there. Luckily, we realized we were there for two different funerals.
Yeah.
But for a moment,
right.
I was like, oh, no, the
Right.
family hired someone else, and the funeral home hired me, you know?
Yeah. But anyway, so I can pick up where we left off. So Chris Lair was singing this this boat song. I'm gonna think of it later, and I'll tell you what the song was. But okay, I'm gonna stop trying to think of it. And he did this pipe singing, and it was great because he was harmonizing on the pipes while he was singing, and I was enthralled by it and thought, this is amazing. I want to do something like that too. And then I found, or maybe I found before, the book by Tim Cummings. What's it called? Pipes thing?
How Can I Keep From
How
Singing?
Can I Keep From Singing? Yeah. Exactly. Beautiful collection of music, arranged for the purpose of singing while you play the tunes. And I know Tim Cummings, another guest on this podcast, episode number whatever.
Insert here.
Insert here. Tim Cummings, I can't say enough about Tim, and I think we probably spoke about this on my last episode.
Yeah, I think we're both acolytes. We're both acolytes in the Church of Cummings. Yeah.
Right. Wonderful man. Just can't say enough good about him. But great arranger, and he's so careful with his music, which ties back to another thing about these early manuscripts from the 1800s, just riddled with errors or notes that look like they could be on one line or space or another. But Tim Cummings is so careful about everything is being perfectly placed, and
that's absolutely one of my favorite things about Tim's work. Yeah, it's like well, the music is great, and don't get me wrong, I love listening to Tim play as well. But the what do you call it? The typesetting is lovely. Tim's books are just lovely and absolutely like a model. If I ever make a book, which I don't know what it would be about, but if I ever do, I want it to look the way that Tim's do. Yeah.
Yes. And so the pipe singing thing, if anybody's interested in pipe singing, that's a great book to add to your collection, because it will give you some really wonderful ideas on how to make it work. Some of his arrangements are, not for the beginner. It's, as you know, if you've tried it, or if anybody's ever tried it, if you try to play on your chanter just a note different from what you're singing, your brain has to go through hurdles, and like your brain panics. And it's like,
Yeah.
that's not the note that I hear. And you'll try to sing the note that you're playing, or you'll try to play the note that you're singing, because we want them to be the same.
Yeah.
So it's a brain exercise. You have to learn to hear yourself playing something that's different from what you're singing.
Mhm.
And for pipers, just specifically for pipers, it's difficult because all of our playing life, we've been hearing what we're playing, and that's it. And you're
Right. Yeah.
we're self-checking as we're playing, making sure this is the correct fingering, and this is the correct throw, this is the correct embellishment. Make sure as we're playing, there's a little loop in the background of our brain, just checking. Okay, it's on the beat. It's the correct rhythm. This is the correct note, and this is the phrase that's coming up next, and this is the part that I'm on, and this is the next part that's coming up. And if I'm playing a set, this is the next tune that's coming up, and I want to make sure I get that transition correctly. And all of that is running in the background of the brain while the fingers are playing the notes. So if you're singing while that's happening, that's another process. It's like that's another tab on the browser in your computer.
Right. Yeah.
And then you open up the task manager and you see, oh, my memory is running at 99%. It's going to crash soon.
That's where my bandwidth is going. I see now. This is why I'm having troubles.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, and that literally happens with my laptop. I need a new computer. It's maxing out the memory all the time. But when you're singing while you're piping, it's doing two things at once, of course. So it's challenging. So I don't remember what I said in my episode on Robert Louis Stevenson, but I did record it a few different ways. And I discovered that anytime I try to make it easier, it ends up taking twice or three times as long because I'm trying to fix these little things to make it sound correct and sound good and be good timing and everything.
Yeah.
So one of the things I did was record the drones, stop, literally cork off the chanter stock and just record the drones. And then over top of that, play the melody on the chanter, record that. Then here's where it gets tricky. If you don't want to pipe while you're singing, you could record what I just did. Record the drones, record the chanter. You could record them both together, or you can record them separately. I tried it a few different ways just to see what works. And then record myself singing. Well, I discovered that is not the way to go. If you try to record yourself singing while hearing yourself play the chanter, the timing is almost never going to line up correctly.
Yeah.
You could also sing it, record your singing, and then try recording your chanter with that. It might be a little bit better because you can hear yourself breathe and take a breath and know where the next entrance is going to be. But it's very difficult to line up the timing. And then the tuning is another issue, because the tuning of your chanter, excuse me, is not going to necessarily be the tuning of your voice. And so in that way, it's easier to sing with the chanter because you can match your voice to the note on the chanter. You can't, as you know, you can't adjust the tuning of a note on the chanter on the fly, because when you sang it, you happen to go a little bit flat or sharp.
Right.
You're up the creek.
Well,
at that
or
point.
if you're like me and your bellows control isn't the greatest in the world, if the chanter goes a little flat or sharp, then if you're doing it all at once, then your voice can kind of follow.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So I tried to be clever and record the elements separately and do it that way. And I did it for at least one of the songs on that episode. I forget which one. But then I discovered, I'll just save myself time, and it's easier if I do it all at once. And as I said, in some regards, that's more difficult because now
But
you
maybe
also have
the
to.
net effect is it's less difficult or something.
Yeah,
like that.
right.
Yeah. More difficult because you have to do it all at once.
You have to do it all at once.
But less difficult because you did it all at once.
Right.
So
And now if you
it's
mess
two
up,
ends of the same stick.
right. If you mess up, you have to go back and restart and do it all again.
Yeah.
Whereas if I recorded them separately, I only have to go back and just re-record my voice here at this part,
Right. Tweak one little part. Yeah.
So it stays in tune with itself better if you're playing and singing at the same time, because everything can move organically with the pitch and the rhythm together at the same time. Whereas, individually, it's not going to line up all the time.
Yeah. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And I can imagine barring perhaps using like a click track or something, which though that itself might kind of come out kind of, I don't know, a little robotic. Maybe it won't come out sounding quite the way you want it to. I think I can see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. With the tell a funny story on myself, but with the click track. So you might have heard this other website and organization. You can bleep this out if you don't want to mention, but the Piper's Dojo, have you heard of it?
Never heard of it. I'll Google it. Real quick.
Okay. Yeah, look it up. So I was a subscribed full member for a few years when I was on my early piping journey, because I wanted to improve myself, and it was very useful. But one of the first tests, I forget if this is for the belts. You get the different belt levels.
Oh, right. Yeah, there's a belt system. Yeah.
And you go through, you record yourself, and you submit it for feedback, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And one of the early ones was rhythm accuracy. And so, so record yourself clapping the rhythm for this tune. Scotland Brave, whatever. Clap the rhythm. And I forget if you had to also have the beat, a metronome recorded at the same time or not.
Sure.
Maybe, I think so. Because otherwise, how would you know how accurate it is?
Yeah, I can imagine that making sense for the assignment. Yeah.
So I did that, and I was pretty happy with it, and submitted it, and then got the feedback. Won't mention his name. I got the feedback from somebody, and he said, this is good, but not 100% accurate. Some of your claps are just before the beat or just after the beat. And so I had to resubmit it. And what I did, James, was I used Audacity. And in Audacity,
Did you slide stuff around?
Yeah. So I had a track for the metronome, and then I had a track for the clapping. And then I'll just nudge this here and just nudge that there. And then it's exactly on the beat. And then I submitted it and said, oh, great, 100%. So you just fix it in the edit.
If the right person is listening right now, go back and find the record of Rod and strip this man of his belts.
No.
He did not earn those belts. I'm just kidding.
I got all the way to orange. Now I'll be expunged.
Take him back to yellow or whatever the first one was.
No. It's that kind of accuracy that can drive one insane,
Yeah.
But I don't know. Pipe singing. It's it's one of those things where you said it's something I've always wanted to do. I keep meaning to do it, but I just haven't done it as much. I started writing a guide, kind of a mini book, a how-to for pipe singing. I started writing this years ago and never finished it. So that's something I'm telling myself right now. I just have to go back in there and, done is better than perfect. I should just get it done and then edit it later or whatever. but it's also, I am kind of tempted to have some kind of recurring series, maybe a pipe singing podcast, half jokingly saying, well, this should be
It's
a
your
podcast,
third
Ron.
podcast.
Yeah. So,
Well,
because
not that I'm no expert, Rod, but if it's at all helpful to you, some small experience that I had, which was with putting together a like a tutorial for the local pipe band that I've done work with Garden Valley Pipe Band. We needed to have, well, we thought it would be convenient to have like our own curriculum for teaching the new students, and so I spent several years thinking I should, trying to, etc. And a little trick that worked for me was I put on the front page, this is a work in progress. This is only a draft. It may be updated later. If there are issues, contact me at this email address. And that like freed me up to actually finish like at least a version of it. And even right now, I don't feel like it's done, but the band's been using it for like 10 years now. And so it's like, it's at least done-ish, it's at least like functional.
Yeah.
So if that little mental trick works, just slap a disclaimer on the front, dude, and then you can do what you want. You don't feel like, so tied down to having it like just the way you want it, because you can always change it. And I say that partly to encourage you because I would love to read that book because, like I say, it's something that I would like to do myself. I mean, I've dabbled a little bit, but I'd like to dig into it,
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's good advice for all creative types. And I think, let's see, is this still working? I just got an error that says an unknown error occurred.
It knows we're approaching 90 minutes and it's trying to shut us down.
Oh, no.
I hope it's been recording.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Well, and actually, I guess to that, and I probably should start heading toward a day job here. So let me just, but I want to give you a chance to do one more little drone, just a little tenor drone, Rod, just a little little soprano drone here. I felt inspired coming away from your Robert Louis Stevenson episode, not only to try more pipe singing, but also to put pen to paper and write down tunes. And it's another thing, kind of like pipe singing, that like I've always thought it would be so cool to improve my musical handwriting. To write so much that I could actually write beautiful music. Because I've seen handwritten staff music, like staff notation before, that is so lovely, and I just think like, man, it would be cool to have like a proficiency in that, and I've never done it. And I've been gifted and purchased like hardbound books of empty staff paper for this purpose, and I've never really dug into it. And I came away from your episode thinking, I just got to do that. I don't know where I would start, just like, I guess whatever jig comes to mind, But I think that's really cool. And if you want to say anything about that, I would like to invite you to, and we'll just we'll fade out on that.
Yeah, I think that's great. Writing music down is such a worthwhile process because it helps you remember in the act of, physically writing with your hand, pencil or pen to paper. You're making that physical contact and you are seeing it, and that has an effect of being more concrete in your memory, at least in my experience. I've got a collection of tunes that I've learned over the years. Just writing it down, I can go back, and if I happen to forget how it goes, I can go back and look at what I wrote, and it comes back very, very quickly. So it's a useful, as a useful thing. It's good for remembering your tunes, but also as a long term, looking off into the distance. This is something that is kept physically, not digitally, but something that exists in a physical form on paper that theoretically could be around 100 years, 200 years from now. Who knows? We've got these manuscripts from the 1800s and before that we still have. So there is something for that in perpetuity kind of this is some kind of a record that exists now for as long as it stays intact.